I come to you with only karate, my empty hand. I have no weapon. Should I be forced to defend myself, my principles, or my honor? Should it be a matter of life or death? Right or wrong, to hear my weapon karate in my empty hand.
Hi, this is Paul Casey, the Kenpo Karate Hall of Fame Education Video Series. Today we'll be talking to Senior Master of the Arts, Luis Solis. Mr. Solis was with Mr. Parker from the late 50s until Mr. Parker's passing, and he will share some anecdotes, personal stories of his life with Ed Parker in American Kenpo. Mr. Solis, please tell us the first time you met Ed Parker.
Okay, the first time I met Ed was a long time ago. There was nobody in the studio but Ed and Jimmy Ibra.
What year did you first come into Pasadena?
When I first came in to see Parker was in the late 50s. That's when everything began. I remember there was nobody in the studio but Ed Parker and Jimmy Ibra. And then Parker was talking to some people and stuff and told Ibra to get me started. And he would made it so hard on me. He was like, he must have thought my leg could be open like a, because he was kicking them out, spreading them along, and oh man, it was painful. And I said, oh man, I'm going to quit. I'm not going to stay here. And so that day ended, and a couple of days later I came back. And then Parker gave me Jimmy Ibra again. And I told him, man, they were hurting me, that time. And he started laughing. Parker was laughing, so was Ibra. But then I was talking to Ed, and just to make it short, at the end, I was telling him, Ed, when I make my 10 years, could I freestyle with you? He turned around and looked at me, kind of laughed like stupid, That's what I remember. I'll never forget that day.
Do you remember your first lesson with Ed Parker?
Well, my first lesson actually was with Jimmy Ibra. When he was Ed Parker black belt a long time ago. And right now, talking about it, Ibra died not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And Ed Parker was talking to me, and he said somebody came in, so he told Ibra to start me off on the workout. Now remember, it was so hard, I was about ready to quit. He pushed you and make you get down in the horse and stuff, and he was like kick the legs out like you, but he made it hard. And I said, no man, I'm quit. I'm never coming back. Got used to it, I guess, and I start training with Ed Parker. Start coming in every day. Now Ed Parker taught me a couple of times, but he usually was busy with people. And he had another guy from Hawaii that was a friend of him. That guy was fantastic. He could jump in the air, kick, do all those things really good, He was really a freestyler. And he taught me for a while. So I had Jimmy Ibra, the guy, and Ed Parker were teaching me.
Tell us about the day you were promoted as a black belt?
I think I was a white belt for a long time, and when he promoted me to black, I can remember he did promote me to black, but there was nobody there but our school and our studio, and he gave me a kick, but he didn't put everything into it. He need yet to make me feel it that I got it.
Tell us about that ceremony.
Well, actually, it wasn't no ceremony. Yes, that he lined up the guys and was working out, and had them all watch, and he called me up in front, and that's when he told me to get down on the horse, take my belt off, and then he kicked me. You know, that's about the size of it, and then all the guys shake my hand and stuff, and that's about it. Like what I said with you.
Do you still have that belt?
I might have it. I got them so many different belts. They all put away someplace. He takes care of all my stuff, you know.
Beautiful.
So I might still have my first black.
In your days of training in Pasadena,
Yes.
you had an experience of training or working out with Bruce Lee.
Oh,
Tell us the story about Bruce Lee.
Okay. But he came into the studio, and I was there talking to some guys, and there was other black belts over there talking, and he came up to me and talked to me, and he's one, how could I say it? Oh, he wanted me to come with him and do a demonstration and stuff, and I told him I wasn't very good at that. There's more black belts up there, they know more about it than I do. And he told me, no, you're like my people, I like you, and I want you to come and do it with me. And I said, okay. Now, when I went, I did some techniques, but I can't remember which ones they were. But I remember he talked to me, and I was dummy for him. You know, he did the takes him out behind me and dropped me and hit me, and he did that one inch punch, boom, boom, and he grabbed you and have it in your fist. So I remember all that. So after that, it became friendly, and we went to dinner. And this is where something changed. Nobody said anything, and I talking. Bruce Lee started talking, and he said, "Would you like something to drink?" And I said, "Yeah, could I have a beer?" And everybody turned around and looked at me. They couldn't believe I ordered a beer in front of Bruce Lee. And I forgot what it was that he said. And then so he said something, and Bruce Lee just smiled and said, "Well, if you could have one, I'd go too." So they all started drinking beer. And I think that broke up the tradition they had before. They were afraid to do all those things in front of Bruce Lee, you know. But Bruce Lee was, he liked his women. I remember I was sitting back there one time, and I see Bruce Lee, and he had a door open up there, and I turned around and looked at him, and he looked at me like saying, "Oh, you caught me," you know, with another girl. And I knew, from then on, I know a lot of stuff about Bruce Lee. He liked his women. He liked to do that. And he didn't ring, but he didn't care about anybody. If they could drink in front of him, he didn't care. But everybody was afraid to drink and say things in front of him.
Do you remember the last thing you said to him?
To Bruce Lee? Well, we came back for another demonstration. And Dick Golden came with me, because he wanted to go and see me. So he talked to Bruce Lee, and then me and Bruce, Steve did a demonstration, and it seemed like they all liked it, you know. And we did a short form. I can't remember which one it was. But the last thing I think we were in his hotel. Well, I don't remember if it was the third day or the second day that this happened, when we did the 1 inch front me in the hotel. But I think that was on 1 week before the other one. And I can't remember what the last things I said to him. It's been so long.
But you had a good relationship with him.
Oh, yeah.
You were friends?
Real friends, yeah. And he liked me when he always see me laugh, you know, because nobody else ever said anything to him. They was afraid to talk to him. And I think I broke up that tradition fiction when I ordered the beers. And then everybody started drinking. And, well, if he could do it, so can we. And Bruce didn't say nothing.
What was the most important lesson you learned about life from Ed Parker?
Well, Parker was, they were religious. They were, and I don't think I ever heard Parker cuss and say things like that. And then we went to his house a couple of times to have dinner with him and all that, me and my wife. And he spoke to us, but we spoke a lot about karate, not about each other or anything like that. They just took it for granted that we all knew each other. And I said, they wanted to tell my wife that they wanted me to go to their church. But I wasn't that religious to go to church, and I think I never went.
Do you remember your experiences with Mr. Parker at the internationals?
Well, at the internationals, I did usually say hi to him, and he was always busy talking, And if he wanted something, he called me and said, "Louis, I want you to do this and do that." Okay, thank you. But I did one thing, one internationals, he had all these security guards. Danny Hinosanto, Steve Golden, and all them wanted to go up to where he was at, and we said, "Let go." And they all seemed to know me when the security guards, so they let us come in. And we went into his, where he had his private room, his party and stuff. And I had talked to Parker like if we did every other day, Hey, hi. Usually I call him Ed. I didn't call him Parker. I call him Ed all the time. And he called me Louis, so that was it, First I say, "Hi Ed, what you doing, man? Come on in." He was treated more like that, like I didn't say Mr. Parker or bow or anything like that. And he used to, if he talked to me and tell me, "Louis, I want you to do this and that," okay, we could do it. Sometimes we took it. Yes, I went with him on a lot of demonstration, and I forgot about that. But there was hardly nobody with us. His school wasn't that big. There was seemed like I was with him all the time, and I used to take him to get stuff for the school. He used to. I remember he took me one time. He was mad, and I thought there was going to be a big fight or something. So he took me and went into this bar, and there's was a lot of guys from Hawaii in there, and Parker came up, and I don't know, they spoke in Hawaiian, so I don't know what they were saying, but Parker was mad. Then he said, "This is Louis. He's one of my students," and everybody looked at me and they bowed to me, and I just shook their hands, That was one time, the first time I seen him so mad, I thought he was going to really have a fight there. And I was kind of scared. So that was one of the experiences I had with him.
Did you ever see him engage in a fight?
No, not engage in no fight, no. But I see him mad, but he seemed to, he controlled himself. He got so mad, but he just, and then he called me, "Louis, them guys are making me mad." But what could I do?
What was your impression of Mr. Parker when you watched him on the mat?
He was good. I mean, actually, every time I seen him, he used to do a technique with a bunch of the black belts from other schools, like with, I can't remember the guy's name. You mentioned them, their names, but they were way ahead of me in rank, so one guy used to throw a jump kick at him, and he parries him real fast, and with parrying him fast, he went over to the sides on the floor, and he dropped 3 guys on a demonstration like that. He didn't hurt him, but he did hit him.
Do you remember working out with Dave Hebler and Chuck Sullivan and any of the Rich Montgomery and any of the young guys?
Dave Hebler, he was ahead of me. He was like an instructor to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked out with him when I first started.
What was your relationship with, say, Frank Trejo?
Oh, when I first met Trejo, he had coming into the studio with Danny Nastadio when he had his school. And I used to teach for Danny Nastadio, and it's not Danny Nasanto, and I also taught for Ed Parker. So I was running back and forth to schools, and Frank Trejo kind of took over the schools. And at first I had rank. I had Frank Trejo come with us on a demonstration for school, and he liked that. And also we went on a demonstration for some club they had up there, where after the demonstration they gave us food and stuff we ate and beer. Those are a couple of times with Frank Trejo. Then on, I think Frank Trejo took over the school, and I used to come over teaching. I didn't spend too much time with Frank Trejo because I was running back and forth. And then later on, when Frank Trejo took over the Ed Parker School, then I got to see him more as a friend. And we was pretty close and stuff like that. But then after a while, I went away. No, then when I went to Spain, and I came back about a month and a half ago later on, when I see him, but he already had control of the school in Pasadena, so I used to go there with him and talk to him all the time, you know. And sometimes I used to teach a class, and some of classes I taught for him one time, his name, Zach was in that class, he wanted to be in it. And Zach said that was the hardest class he ever had. You know, he couldn't believe I could do all that stuff. So I did a lot of stuff.
Mr. Parker, we both know, has passed.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we'll all see him at one time in our future.
Yeah.
When it comes to that time when God calls us. Mr. Parker is going to be here with us in spirit, because this is the 30th anniversary of his passing.
Mm-hmm.
And in spirit, he's going to walk into this room here now. Ed Parker walks in here. You have only a minute to talk to him. What would you say to Ed Parker right now before he leaves?
I said, God, Ed, I'm glad to see you. I'd like to see you again, man. Maybe I'll meet you pretty soon. That's about it, I guess. Because my time is coming pretty soon. I already had a couple of heart attacks, and I got this thing that control the blood that go into my heart.
Mr. Solis, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the people from all the family members.